Hi there. Welcome to another edition of TokStocks. I'm your host, Keir Reynolds, and today we're lucky enough to have Marco Roque, CEO with Cassiar Gold. How you doing today?
I'm great, Keir. How are you?
Hey, excellent. Nice to see you again. We managed to catch up in Calgary a few months ago, back in the summer, and now we find ourselves at the SMI, the Swiss Mining Institute conference here in Zurich. Are you having a good conference so far?
Really good, actually. Really good.
How many meetings do you think you'll do in 2 days?
Well, we have 21 scheduled meetings, plus there's been, already probably a dozen of them on the side, so it's been very, very productive so far.
Excellent. Well, I'm sure you're sick of telling the story, but we're going to ask one more time. Before we get into Cassiar and what the company is all about, maybe a bit of your background. It's kind of unique.
Sure. So I'm Portuguese, born and raised. I started my career in private banking back in Portugal, the largest Portuguese private bank, Millennium. I moved over to Barclays. I spent 6 years there doing capital markets, derivatives, cross asset class. In 2008, I was in banking. I saw the financial crisis. I saw the bank bailouts. Following the bank bailouts, I took a deep dive into studying the banking and the monetary system. I quickly realized I did not own enough gold and precious metals, so I became a gold bug very quickly. Kind of fast forward, I went to do an MBA between London Business School and Hong Kong UST. I moved to Hong Kong. I spent over 10 years in Hong Kong. I set up an advisory business focused on precious metals and a merchant bank, investing my own and our own capital into the business. Eventually became an entrepreneur in the space, acquired projects, took them public, and in June 2020, I've basically joined as CEO of Cassiar Gold, really. And this is thanks to actually an Australian geologist. He did a due diligence for me on this asset. At the time, it was the first time he actually had a positive review on the hundreds of assets we have sent to him, Doug Kerwin, and he did a review on this asset. He saw that at the time he saw at least 3 to 5 million ounces. And then he compared this district to the Fosterville district, the lowest cost producer on the planet, now owned by Agnico down in Australia. And with that kind of positive take on the assets, 3 to 5 million ounces, Fosterville potential, and I said, I'm in. I can't miss this one. So it's been 4.5 years that the asset has actually been living to the expectation of that created.
Excellent. And maybe just for those of us that don't know the Cassiar sort of project and what, could you give us a bit of an overview? Your projects are based in BC, northern BC, if I'm not mistaken, and maybe you could. When I was sitting in July listening to your presentation, I was very impressed with the number of roads, the amount of roads, 160 kilometers or something of roads on your property. I was like, well, you must have a sizable property to have that type of road system. So maybe you could give us an overview on what Cassiar's got in terms of your core focus.
Yeah, absolutely. So Cassiar Gold, Canadian Gold Explorer, our flagship district we're focused on is in northern British Columbia. It has 5 past producing mines. It's a massive district. It's 59,000 hectares, 590 square kilometers of opportunity. And because it has a past producing mines, it comes with all of the infrastructure and access you can hope for. You have dozens of kilometers of paved roads, Highway 37 bisects our property. We have the Cassiar paved road that literally takes us to the Taurus deposit. We have a fully owned and permitted 300 ton per day mill. We have 2 mining permits already in place, which in BC is extremely valuable. We have 17 portals, 25 kilometers of underground workings, tailings facilities with capacity, 160 kilometers of mining roads that allow us to get to most of our exploration targets very efficiently. No need for helicopter, drilling so far. And it's a lot of great targets. We have the social license to operate. We have a board that has discovered, built, operated, and sold mines all over the world. We have, a really good institutional shareholder base as well. And you get basically all of this for 27 million Canadian market cap right now, with $5.6 million in the bank. It also comes, by the way, with a resource from early 2022 of 1.4 million ounces inferred at over a gram, 1.14 grams per ton, right at surface. It has 10 meters of overburden. It's really shallow. 90% of those ounces occur within 150 meters from surface. That resource is built on 56,000 meters of drilling. And since the last resource update, we've drilled 46,000 meters across the property with a hit ratio of over 99.5%. We're hitting gold mineralization above the cutoff grade. So great success. We keep on expanding. We want to make this bigger. Our vision is to define a tier 1 district. That means 5 million ounce plus. We can clearly see that potential on the areas where we're working. So it's a very unique opportunity, and yeah, we're every year we're drilling and we're finding more gold, and really it's been living to the current expectation and the expectation it created. So it's a very unique and very compelling opportunity.
Excellent. Thanks for giving us an overview. Now, you've got a market cap under 30 million. There's companies here that have market caps of almost 400 million and no resource. Why this sort of disconnect? Is it, do you think it's grade? Do you think it's location? Do you think it's maybe a misunderstanding sort of the project, or just not enough awareness?
I think it's definitely not the grade. I think it's definitely not the location. We have good grade. We have very good location. Yeah, I think misunderstanding, yes. I think this sector is not efficient at all. So you have a lot of mispricing. I think promotion plays a key role. I think the companies that are very well promoted, they command very high valuations. Others, not so much. So that's a problem, but at the same time, it's an opportunity, because when you have something that is deep, has deep value, but you can acquire for a fraction of the price. It's basically at a discount, and I can see it from the meetings I've been having here as well, that people really recognize the value that we have, and things can only be mispriced for so long. And on that sense, we're actually also aggressively marketing right now, and that also has to do with the macro context. We had 2.5 years bear market in the juniors. Some people will tell you that actually we haven't got out of the bear market yet. Despite that, we have gold price making new all-time highs, at least until the Trump election. Then you have the Trump effect bringing gold a little bit lower. Now you see gold moving up a little bit, but the juniors, a lot of the juniors are actually trading like gold is trading at 1,500 or 1,800. So I think there's a mismatch here, an opportunity for valuations to catch up, and for investors that understand the sector and can actually assess the good projects, separate the good projects from the not so good projects, can really make outsized returns with that.
Excellent. Well, I remember when in July, when I was sitting in on a couple of your meetings and hearing their presentation a few times, one of the things that kind of struck me is that you've got a focus here on a sort of a bulk tonnage sort of target. You have an inferred resource, but then you've done just an absolute ton of drilling since then. That new drilling that you've done since your last resource, is that to move some of that inferred into an indicated sort of category, or is it or are you drilling into some new areas where you could expand the resource and make it bigger?
Yeah, definitely the second. So our goal really is to drive this project as quickly as possible to a tier 1 district, which is clearly a 5 million ounce plus district. And we're not going to do that by trying to upgrade a couple of million ounces to measured, indicated, or reserves eventually. No, our goal really is to keep on stepping out, keep on expanding mineralization, and ideally as close to surface as possible. Most of our drilling is less than 300 meters deep, so we have very shallow mineralization. So our goal is to really keep on expanding, really expanding the footprint. Yes, we've been expanding a little bit at depth at Taurus, but more than anything, we want to expand laterally, with the goal really of increasing our resource inventory. So the Taurus deposit, the entirety of the resource we have currently sits on a single pit, a pit-constrained resource at Taurus. We've been expanding that laterally. We've been expanding that at depth. We've been expanding that internal to the pit shell. But also we're looking at different satellite targets where we see similar mineralization styles, similar veining, similar characteristics in the mineralization to Taurus. And on average, we have a 10-meter overburden at Taurus, and we have a little bit of overburden into a very big valley that's maybe 30 times, 40 times the footprint of Taurus. And we are seeing consistently across that valley outcrop with similar styles of veining, similar styles of mineralization, similar characteristics, as Taurus and with similar grades when we get the grab sample. So we have the new coast target where we drilled 6 holes last year and 3 holes this year. The 6 holes last year, they all came back mineralized. The highlight there was 95 meters at 0.9 grams per ton. This year we followed up with 3 drill holes. They're still pending, so stay tuned for that. And we believe that could be a center of gravity. It could be another Taurus there. That's 2.5 kilometers south of Taurus, it might even be connected with Taurus. And if the whole corridor is mineralized, then we could very easily have our target, our objective, tier 1 objective, right there on that very small corridor. And again, that corridor is like 2.5 kilometers by 1 or 2 kilometers, and we have a 590 square kilometer land package. We have several targets with outcrop, with grades similar to Taurus, 0.5 gram to 2 grams, outcropping, similar cells of mineralization. Wings Canyon, Taurus East, Owl Rock, Snow Creek, Lucky, even at the main mine, which is 5 kilometers south of Taurus and 2.5 kilometers south of New Coast, we hit last year 237 meters at 0.69 grams per ton. So looks like a bulk tonnage style mineralization. So the more work we do, the more geophysics, the more mapping and sampling, the more drilling, we find more gold. And I was actually just commenting with this like last week in London with some investors. We really haven't sterilized any part of our property. The more we drill, the more work we do, the more gold we find. We will need space for basically more tailings facilities in that valley. Hopefully we find it, but it's going very well so far.
Hey, excellent. Maybe we could cover kind of the cap structure. How many shares are outstanding?
Yeah, so we have 127 million shares outstanding. Our share price as of yesterday was 22 cents. That's a 26, 27 million market cap. Extremely cheap. So our insider ownership is roughly 12%. It's basically everything is bought and paid for. Insiders participate in every single private placement. I think insider average cost is probably 30, 40, 50 cents. We're trading at 21, 22. I've personally put in just over $1 million of my own money into the company. My 2 cheapest buys were at 25 cents. I put in $500,000 of my own, and just under $500,000 of my own money at 25 cents in the last 12 months. So we actually have a board that actually understands very well what we have. It's one of the most, in my opinion, well-rounded and experienced boards in the gold junior space, with geos, capital markets, people that run mid-tiers and majors, in mines, mining engineers, build projects, projects into production. So in addition to that, to the very strong insider ownership and support, we also have roughly almost 30% of our share registry is now institutional shareholders. We've been building that from 0 to almost 30% in the last 4.5 years. And I think we've been able to advance the project, even in a very difficult last 2.5 years, quite significantly. And I think we're, by the looks of the meetings we're having here, we're adding more institutional shareholders and more high net worth individuals to our share registry as we speak as well.
And maybe you could kind of touch on, I got an opportunity to meet Steve Letwin, who's on your board. Maybe you could explain to the audience sort of who he is, what he's done before.
Sure. So Steve is our chairman. He invests in every single private placement. He buys stock on the open market, go and check. He's a former president CEO of IM Gold. He was running IM Gold from 2010 to 2020. The Cote Gold project is basically his kind of baby at IM Gold. That's basically a project that's really moving IM Gold to a new paradigm. It's a $4 billion market cap company right now. A project that basically is a Canadian project. So he brings a lot of experience, obviously very relevant experience into the company. Is like the rest of our board members, he's a very involved board member. In every single week we're in meetings, goes to site, helps with investors, helps with the strategy. It's yeah, and and our the quality of our board doesn't end with him. Like we have a really well-rounded board as well.
Excellent. So, what are a couple of goals you're looking to accomplish by attending a conference like this? Are you looking to grow your sort of European shareholder base, catch up with some existing investors that have participated? Anything else?
Yeah. So. Yes, it's all of the above in short, but it's it's important to provide a context. In the last 2.5 years, we've been in a bear market in the space, and we took a very conscious decision, that you could criticize that decision to really tone down on the marketing. So for the last two years, we've really been very stingy on marketing. Never did a roadshow in Germany, never marketed in Germany, which is a big resource market. Same in Scandinavia, same in the United States. I've only attended the conference a couple of times in the United States, never really did any marketing there. So now with the gold price where it is, we feel that this market is fundamentally changing. You start to see some companies really taking off, not all of them, but some. And I think this is the market where you'll have a big return on investment in terms of marketing and creating investor awareness. There's a little, I think, I was just commenting, I think the gold junior investors are a little bit schizophrenic. You have the crypto people, they're perma bulls, they're always like bullish on crypto. I think junior mining investors, it's like, oh, gold went down $100, like let's sell all of our juniors. You see like the GDXJ down like 18% in the last, since Trump won the election. So it's a little bit schizophrenic, but like crypto, this volatility can provide a lot of opportunities for traders. I'm a long-term fundamental investor, but I think this market is just primed to finally rewrite. So with all the news flow that we have coming from our drill campaign, geophysics, we drilled 7,200 meters this year. We've done over 70 square kilometers of geophysics. We did mapping and sampling. And we're going to be putting out a resource update in late Q1, early Q2. So and we are so undervalued. This is the right time to get a really good return, in our opinion, on really increasing exposure, increasing awareness for a company that some people might know it, some people might have heard about it, but I can tell from the meetings when you sit down and I tell what we have done, where we are, and everyone's like, you can see people really. The light bulb switches on. So yeah, we're going to be aggressively marketing. I've been to London last week. I'm here in Zurich this week. I'll be doing a roadshow in Germany. We'll be marketing quite aggressively in North America, in several U.S. cities for the first time. Going back to VRIC and Roundup in Vancouver, Toronto to PDAC. So create awareness. Remember people that we exist, show the work that we have done, and the people that understand this space, they will realize how undervalued this is. And I think we're basically acquiring new institutional shareholders, new investors, new high net worth individuals here in this part of the world, and we'll continue to do that over the next few months in the different parts of the world that we're going to be marketing.
And in terms of the project, so Taurus is the main 43-101 sort of like deposit. Mm-hmm. You mentioned earlier a number of other targets. Mm-hmm. How many of those other targets have had sufficient work to be drilled? And how many have been drilled?
Yeah, so we have Taurus, as you mentioned. That's really the only, basically the entirety of the resource is at Taurus in a single pit. It's a pit constrained resource built on 56,000 meters of drilling. We already expanded that mineralization laterally at depth, internal to the pit shell, and that deposit remains open for expansion. We don't know how big that's going to get, but likelihood is going to continue to grow. Then we have Taurus East, where we have already done some drilling. It's, some people will argue that's part of the Taurus deposit, although there's like a few hundred meters gap there. Maybe it connects, we'll see. But that's, we have quite a bit of drilling there. That's a few hundred meters to the east of Taurus. That remains open. We even had a very high grade intercept there, 6.6 meters or 6.4 meters from surface at 22 grams per ton, which is quite nice to see as well, very high grade. Although at the Taurus, our bulk tonnage targets, what we usually see is between 0.5 gram and 2 grams on average. Although you always have these like higher grade, kind of zingers that come through and create these kind of higher grade corridors. Then we have Wings Canyon, which is roughly 500-600 meters to the southeast of Taurus. We believe that eventually we'll connect with Taurus. There's no resource there. There's quite a bit of drilling, and the more we drill, the more we hit. We believe will continue to grow. We have drilled a new coast target that's 2.5 kilometers south of Taurus. 6 holes last year, 3 holes this year. The results, the 3 holes from this year remain pending. Following the drilling last year at New Coast, we did a bunch of mapping, and we liked the New Coast target. But then we realized that New Coast is a 2.5 kilometer east-west corridor where we see basically a bunch of outcrop where we collected grab samples from the outcrop, similar styles of veining, similar styles of alteration and characteristics in the mineralization, in a similar grades to Taurus. So it looks like Taurus, it quacks like Taurus, and eventually we want to drill it so we can, and the New Coast kind of west, we could call it New Coast West. Now we've extended that 2.5 kilometers, the corridor, we see a bunch of outcrops. So hopefully to the east, on the graph samples we see similar grades. Now we need to drill that. We have other targets, Hopeful, 300 meters, 400 meters south of Taurus, the edge of Taurus. We have Snow Creek, 2.5 kilometers to the east of Taurus, where you have the outcropping veins that become visible because you get to the alpine, so the soils disappear, so you have the bedrock exposed. Looks exactly like Taurus. Never drilled that one. We want to drill that one. And that could be another corridor that could be entirely connected because we did a soil survey for 3 square kilometers between Taurus and Snow Creek, and it's just filled with anomalous gold. We also did geophysics. He had like coinciding anomalies as well. So these are just a few. I mentioned the main mine intercept. That could be another bulk tonnage target. We don't know. The jury's still out on that one. We only have one drill hole, 237 meters though, at 0.69 grams per ton. So yeah, we have a lot of targets.
Sounds like it. How long are you funded for? Are you going to need to raise some more money in 2025?
We don't know. So we have $5.6 million in the bank. We are heavily undervalued. So we're trading at 21 or 22 cents. Our lowest price warrant is at 50 cents. Our highest price warrant is at 70 cents. There's actually a scenario where you can, get re-rated and get, a fair valuation. And if that's the case, you can see the share price going to 50, 70, 80 cents, and potentially can get all the warrants exercised. And if that's the case, that could bring in $20 million into the company, which in practice will deny the need for any raises in the next couple of years. So we'll see. But in any case, we have, we've just been offered money this week. We're not taking it. We know the value of what we have. We have a lot of news flow, a lot of marketing ahead of us, a lot of catalysts. And then we'll see where we'll land after the resource updates. And, maybe we don't need to raise capital for the next couple of years. We'll see.
Well, thanks so much for spending some time with us. I'll let you get back with your busy schedule of meetings. Really great to see you again since we spent some time in the summer. It's nice to see your story progress. Sounds like I was reading the news releases. Sounds like the summer was wildly successful, and look forward to seeing what that new updated resource calculation looks like next year.
Sounds good.
All right. Thank you, Marco.
Thanks for having me.